Come on. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Face Off Sports Network, Sunday morning for NFL Week 11. I'm Anthony Servino at the Real NFL Guru. Join with me, as always, Pete Nova at Supernova 38. Pete, what's going on?
What's going on? It's getting chilly. Football is here, getting close to Thanksgiving. Ready to roll.
Yeah, a nice slate today. A lot of games to talk about. We have some questions in there already, but what's your favorite game on the slate? For me, this Pittsburgh-Baltimore game, I think that's the one I'm looking forward to the most because it's going to tell us a lot about both teams.
It is. Yeah, I like that one a lot. Obviously, low-hanging fruit would be Chiefs Bills, but I'm interested to see Chargers Bengals. Bengals.
Yeah.
Bengals need to win, and Chargers. I mean, Bengals are 4-6. If they go to 4-7, they practically got to win out.
Yeah.
Chargers 6-3. They're in a good spot. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited for those.
Yeah, Pete, if you're ready, let's jump into the questions.
Yeah, let's roll. Jojo coming in here on Twitter said pick 2, Myers, Pearsall, or Amari Cooper. I think I'm off Amari Cooper today, even if he plays. The hand injury is just worrying me. I'd rather risk it and roll Pearsall. Cooper gets a tough matchup against the Chiefs, and Jacoby Myers gets the Dolphins, which, I mean, it's not like the best matchup in the world either, but I just don't really have a lot of confidence in starting Amari Cooper today. Anthony?
Yeah, it's a tough matchup against Kansas City. We don't know how healthy he's going to be. No Keon Coleman, no Kincaid. That could potentially funnel some targets his way. But if the Bills are going to win this game, I think it's going to be Josh Allen dominant. And I also, I'm very much into Dawson Knox today with the matchup. So I think I would lean with no George Kittle, Ricky Pearsall.
Yeah. I think Juwan Jennings is in for a nice day too. I mean, I like all the receivers in this game. I mean, I like Jennings and Debo more, but I think Pearsall could have a decent day too with Kittle out.
I mean, he's had double-digit PPR points since the Dallas game, so he's on a little bit of a streak right now.
Well, and we talked about it too. Like Seattle and 49ers always tend to be higher scoring games. So I expect there to be points and a lot going on for fantasy. Mo Mobbin said Jaden Reed versus Chicago, DJ Moore versus Green Bay, J-Mo versus Jacksonville, full PPR. I would personally, I think it really depends with DJ Moore. If Jair Alexander is out, I mean, I keep talking myself into DJ Moore every week. I mean, as we should. He's talented. No new OC change. Like, it just feels like if you were gonna look at this like the right way from looking at analytics and looking at matchups and stuff, DJ Moore makes the most sense out of these three guys. But DJ Moore has made the most sense over a lot of guys the last few weeks and hasn't done anything for us. So to me, if you're looking for the higher floor, I would start Jaden Reed. I think if you're looking for ceiling, I would start DJ Moore. And if you're looking for somewhere in the middle, I would go with J-Mo.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Or DJ Moore is just so hard to trust. If Jair is out, I'm very much inclined to roll the dice. But if Jair plays, I'm not touching him. Jaden Reed, this is a tough matchup. Chicago, they defend the pass well. I might just go Jameson Williams because Sam Laporta is not playing today.
Yeah. Well, keep in mind, Brisker's out for Chicago too. The safety, he's on IR, so that could also affect a little bit too. So you're going J-Mo.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go J-Mo. He's kind of due. There's no Laporta, and this is Jacksonville. I don't think Jacksonville's defense is as good as it looked. It was more of a bad Sam Darnold last week. I think we see some over-the-top plays to Jameson today. Plus, like the Lions, after 5 interceptions by Goff, I think they're going to want to kind of get his confidence back. And, and kind of, maybe smash. Like I could see them, throwing 50 up today.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that as well. All Oh, you know what? I actually missed one. Steel Dan sent us something. It says at 8 o'clock last night on I don't know what. There's no way that's accurate. It says 8 o'clock last night. But we didn't just go. We just went live, and there was nothing, no queue to send questions. But I'm just gonna answer Steel Dan anyway, since it technically is our first question, but it wasn't there before. It says Jennings or ETN for the flex. Pretty easy for me. I'd go Jennings. I actually think ETN is sneaky with the checkdowns and no Tank Bigsby today. But I'm still going to go with Jennings.
Yeah, I'll lean Jennings here as well. ETN is going to be, enticing in a lot of spots, but not over somebody like Jennings, who is coming off 11 target game, and there's no George Kittle.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's see. NA said Taysom Hill or Tucker Craft. He also said, "Good morning, boys." Taysom Hill, Tucker Craft. I mean, ideally, I don't really love either guy this week, to be honest with you. Tucker Craft, the Packers get the Bears, Taysom Hill and the Saints. Taysom's always a wild card. You're really usually just hoping that he scores a touchdown. A lot of injuries on that offense. Saints get the Browns. I don't know. Where would you lean here?
Kraft is interesting, but I think the safer play might be Taysom Hill, because this is a good matchup against Cleveland, and there's not a lot of bodies here offensively. I don't even know if Jamal Williams is playing today, which could mean more touches going into Taysom Hill's direction. Kraft, he was hot earlier this year, but he's kind of cooled off, under 7.6 PPR points in 2 out of his past 4 games. Chicago's a little bit leaky, and with no Brisker, maybe I do lean Kraft for that reason. With Chicago's safety being out, and they're, on paper, they're a bottom 12 team against tight ends.
Yeah, I prefer Kraft. Last 5 weeks, Bears give up the 6th most points to tight ends. They're not giving up many touchdowns, but they're giving up a lot of yards and receptions. 357 yards over the last 5 weeks, 28 catches, 17.5 points per game to the tight end position. So yeah, I like Kraft here. I would roll with Kraft. Alicia's in the house, said, "What's up, guys? Happy Sunday." Yep, thanks for dropping in. Yeah. Justin Garcia, not sure which way, but said half point PPR, Hunter Henry or Jonnu Smith this week. I think Hunter Henry is interesting. Their OC did talk about getting him the football more and making him more aligned in the game plan. So he's an interesting play this week against the Rams. Then you get Jonnu Smith, who gets the Raiders. I mean, I don't know. I'll let Anthony take this one first as well.
I might lean Jonnu Smith. Outside of last week, he came into last week's game with 6 straight games, at least 6 targets. He only had 4 last week, had a big play, almost scored. And I'm pretty sure the Raiders are one of the easiest matchup for tight ends.
Yeah, they over the last 5 weeks, Raiders 22.5 fantasy points per game to tight ends. That's number 1 in the NFL. For most, they've given up 4 touchdowns, 331 yards on 33 catches. That's fantasy points per game. That's not total fantasy points. If looking at total fantasy points, they're 5th in the last 5 weeks. Yeah. Obviously, they had a bye, so that kind of changes things a little bit. Big Draft Energy said, "Gentlemen, what's going on?" And he asked if I had my suit on. I did not wear my suit this morning. Jared Fortin said, "Hey guys, must win PPR, Waddle, Mike Williams, Pop Douglas." And then he said, "Wilson, division games can be weird, or Mahomes." We'll tackle the first part of this question. Waddle against the Rams is interesting. I mean, Tyreek Hill, the Waddle thing is so weird, right? He had like 40 yards on the first drive last week. And then I think he touched the ball like 1 time since that. So Rams ninth when it comes to points allowed to wide receivers over the last 5 weeks. From a pass rush standpoint, Rams get a lot of pressure and they're good against the run. And they've gotten better against the pass when it comes to an efficiency standpoint. But they're still ninth when it comes to points allowed, 35 points over the last 5 weeks. I like Waddle. Mike Williams is also interesting though against that Baltimore secondary. It's just a matter of like how involved is he going to be. But we say the same thing about Waddle every single week. I'm like my gut says Mike Williams, my heart says Waddle. I'd be interesting. I mean, if you can take the risk, I would roll the dice with Mike Williams this week against that
Yeah.
Ravens secondary, who's number 1 against wide receivers.
That's where I'm there with you. I actually like Mike Williams a lot this week. This could be a high scoring game. No Kyle Hamilton. I believe he's out as well. And that's Baltimore's best defender on the back end. So, yeah, I would roll the dice on Mike Williams because if they're going to try to maybe double up George Pickens, you're really going to leave Mike Williams single covered against a weaker coverage. And Russ will, if there's one thing Russ does really well, he puts the ball up there and trusts his receiver to come down with the contested catch.
Yeah. And then he did ask Russ or Mahomes. I am going to pull Fredo up because he sent the super chat and he said start Mahomes or let Russ cook. So we can kind of combine both of these questions, Fredo with the $5 super chat. I mean, look, I know divisional games can be a little bit weird. Russ has been really good though. Like, I mean, he's been good for fantasy. Mahomes has not. I mean, you can look at the historical numbers for Mahomes against the Bills, and he's been good, but this is not the same offense. They want to run the football. The Bills are susceptible to giving up points on the ground, and I think this is a lower scoring game this week, whereas Anthony's point, I think that Steelers-Ravens game tends to be higher scoring. So I prefer Russ in this spot. What about you?
I've said Mahomes to this question all week long, and it's just hard to sit Patrick Mahomes against Buffalo because it can. I think either one, even though that Steelers game, it looks like it could be, I think that can go either way. I think this Bills game could also go either way, but it's just, I'm going to still roll the dice on Patrick Mahomes. He's been solid from fantasy for fantasy. I think he's been over 20 fantasy points in the past few games since getting DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah, and I think the ceiling play is Russell Wilson, but I think the safer play, like I'm going to roll the dice on Mahomes. Yeah, he in his past 3 games, he's gone 19, 22, and 27. And last week, Denver, he had the 19. And that's a really tough matchup. Bills, they're 13th against quarterbacks, but I think they're a little bit shakier.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. You said 19, 22, 27 for Mahomes.
Yeah, that depends. Like I'm using there's different scoring settings.
Yeah, no. It's fine because it's funny because Russ last 3 games, 18, 22, right. 27. So they're very close.
Right.
I lean Russ just because I think he gets the easier matchup and he's at home where Mahomes has to go on the road. But I could see the Mahomes side too. Like I said, historically, I mean, he's been good against them. So yeah. All right, let's move on here. A $2 super or £2 super. I think that's pounds. Luck is in here and said Garrett Wilson or Cedric Tillman this week.
That might be euros. Luke Spins. I think that that's like Denmark or Norway.
Your guess is as good as
mine. That's because I bet all the fucking soccer, so I know these names.
Yeah,
that's definitely one of those countries.
It's probably euros. But yeah, Garrett Wilson gets the Colts. Colts were a favorable matchup to start the year. They've kind of tightened up a little bit. They're 19th when it comes to points allowed to wide receivers over the last 5 weeks, 30 points per game. And then you have Cedric Tillman, who, I mean, I'm starting Cedric Tillman over Zay Flowers this week, and I actually like Zay Flowers' matchup. I know it's like I don't expect Joey Porter to cover Zay Flowers as much, but I can't sit Tillman against this Saints defense. The Saints against wide receivers, they're 7th when it comes to points allowed, giving up 36 points per game over the last 5 weeks. They've given up 5 touchdowns and 851 yards on 61 receptions. So I lean Tillman here. And it's crazy. I mean, I don't know. I feel like you're going to say Garrett Wilson, I get it, but
it's closer than you think in the past 4 games, and we know Tillman had a bye. He's I believe the wide receiver 6 in fantasy points.
Oh,
and that's Tillman.
yeah.
So he's electric right now. Going into the bye, he's getting the targets. He's getting it done in every statistical category. Garrett Wilson kind of quieted down against Arizona. That was an all-around weird game anyway. I don't know, man. Because Garrett, it seems like he's either going off or he's given like in that like 12 to 15 range. I might go Tillman. I think Tillman's a safer play, and I also think he could bring some ceiling as well. I don't know. That's hard.
I mean,
it's
ballsy,
man.
I would be curious to know what is the rest of his lineup looks like. If you want to send that in, I'd be more interested to see if there's somebody else you can sit to get both of these guys in.
You're right. I don't think there's there has to be a way to get both. Like there has to be a way we could start both. Like I would start both over CeeDee Lamb. I would start both over Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah, I probably would too. Which is kind of hard to say, but I'm kind of with you there. BG on Twitter said ETN, Amari, or Madison half PPR. I'm going to go with ETN. I'll roll the dice, risk with all 3 of these guys. Madison doesn't get a bad matchup against Miami. It's not great, but I would go with ETN. I think there'll be some checkdowns. I think they'll rely on him with no Tank Bigsby. So yeah, I just don't want to start Amari Cooper this week, man. I just don't.
Yeah, the thing with Cooper is we don't know exactly how healthy he is, or is he playing because he has to play with no Keon Coleman? They need some firepower on the football field. There's no Kincaid either. And then the past few games he was with the team inactive, he was not playing a full slate of snaps. I think he was under 30 snaps in both of those games. ETN, I might be with you here on ETN because there's no Bigsby, and we expect ETN to be on the field for the check down opportunities, and there should be a lot of them.
Yeah, I'm with you there. We have a ton of questions, guys. So, if you want to jump and get priority, we got 38 people on here on YouTube. Hit us with a like if you're here. It's easier for us. I see 7 on Facebook. We're getting a lot of Twitter questions as well. Hop over to YouTube. It's easier for us to answer you guys. It's easier for us to pull your questions. It just makes everything, our lives easier, and we want to get to as many of you as possible. So if you can hit us up on YouTube, jump over. I believe the YouTube channel is the Fantasy Football Face Off. So yeah, head over there. Were you going to say one closing thought on?
Yeah, I was going to say Amir Abdullah actually outsnapped Madison last week. For what that's worth.
I did not know that. That is interesting. Michael Hoff, friend of the show, said, I could just text you, Pete, but do we like Estime? I prefer ETN over Estime this week. I like Estime. I just think that like we're probably in line for a game where he gets like 14 carries for 56, 60 yards and maybe a touchdown, but no catches. Like, I just think Javonte will probably get the receiving work, and so will Jaleel. And unless he scores a touchdown, and Bo Nix scares me on the goal line. But the matchup is there, so I don't hate people rolling the dice either. Anthony, what about you?
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think he's touchdown dependent. The fact that he has 0 targets on the year, granted he hasn't played a lot. But we talked about this, I think on Thursday or Friday's stream, where Atlanta's defense, they're giving up some points recently to running backs, but they're all pass catching running backs. So I'm in a bind with some in a must-win situation. I'm using McLaughlin this week because I'm in a bind and I had to pick somebody up, and McLaughlin should, hopefully get some pass catching opportunities. So yeah, Estimate's nice. He's more touchdown dependent this week.
Would you start Jaleel over Xavier Worthy this week?
Jesus, I don't know.
Because you got me thinking, because I have to start. I'm in a 14-man and it's deep, and I was thinking about Kittle out. Like I need to put somebody else in my flex, and it's either him, Cam Akers, or Xavier Worthy.
Yeah, Worthy, after he started seeing some volume from weeks 5 to 8 with 6, 8, and 8 targets. Past 2 games, a total of 6 targets. And one of those games was against Tampa, where we thought it was going to be a smash matchup.
Yeah.
And now it's Buffalo. I really see this being a DeAndre Hopkins game.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah.
So I think the safer floor might be Jaleel. As fucking crazy as that sounds.
I probably need floor. I have ceiling. I probably need more floor there. Jimmy
Juju's
B
back.
And Juju's back.
My God.
Is Clyde back? I don't
know. That was one of my wasted picks of the year in best ball.
I was going Carson Steele, and that didn't really do much either. So Jimmy B with a $5 super said Jennings, Tank Dell, Pickens, Ladd, and James Cook. I love Jennings. Tank Dell, I get worried that the game script phases him out because they might be pounding the Cowboys. I love Ladd McConkey this week, and I love George Pickens this week. So that's pretty easy for me. He said 2 wide receivers and a flex. So I would go Pickens, Ladd, and then for me, I would go Jennings. And I would sit Tank, and I'd sit James Cook.
Ooh, definitely Pickens. It's Pickens, Ladd, Cook, Pickens, Ladd, Jennings for me. I see a world like if Cook's going to get involved, it's going to be him as a receiver against Kansas City. I would still think he's touchdown reliant, though. So I would go Jennings. I would sit James Cook, even though I do see a world where he can get going. But, yeah, he's going to probably have to catch a lot of passes and probably score through the air for him to return value.
Yeah. That was kind of how I felt as well. And look, they're down pass catchers, James Cook. So, I mean, like, maybe that helps him out. Fredo coming in and said Jennings or Lamb this week. I'm still going to start Lamb. I like Jennings a lot. I don't like him enough to sit Lamb. There is risk. Lamb does have the back injury. So we have to keep that in mind. But I would go Lamb over Jennings, but it's close.
Wow. I might go Jennings over Lamb. I just don't see a world where if Houston's turning over Goff 5 times, and we saw that game last week where Rush and Lance, I think they combined for a bunch of interceptions and fumbles. Where is like CeeDee Lamb? Like he had 8 targets last week, and I think he totaled like 30 yards. Like I just don't see a world where this offense is able to get going.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, Texans have been susceptible to giving up points to receivers, but yeah, I'm kind of with Anthony. I guess I'd start Jennings, because I just don't think you're getting pop from Lamb. Like that's the problem too. Like all his catches with Rush against the Eagles were like,
he had 10 targets, 6 for 21. And then they ran it to him once for 3 yards. Like, and I get like on paper, Houston has a good secondary, but they're going to come after Dallas's quarterbacks. Like, they're going to rush the passer. And where's this time coming from? When you have like this is one of my issues going into the year with 2 rookie offensive linemen starting.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Lamb gives you a better floor because the volume will be there, but Jennings gives you the upside. That would be my thing there. Let's get to Alicia. She said, question from earlier, please, Ridley or Brown. Let me scroll up, Alicia, and just make sure I'm understanding which Brown you're referring to. Maybe Chase Brown. Yeah, okay. Ridley or Chase Brown in the flex. I have Collins, Jamar Chase, Hall, Mixon, with Jonnu while McBride is out. Could be Dobbins or Kupp as well. I mean, Chase Brown's been like the running back 6 over the last 2 weeks. You're expecting a shootout against the Chargers. Now, this is a good defense for the Chargers. And Ridley gets a really good matchup, right? I mean, and Ridley's been on fire. So I definitely can understand the hesitancy here. If it gets the Vikings, I just get scared, man. Like, what Will Levis are we getting today with all this pressure coming from this Vikings defense? I think Ridley, like, it worries me. It worries me a lot. I'm going to go with Chase Brown. My heart says Chase Brown. The volume's been there. I know everybody's on Ridley this week, but like, based on your situation, like you have the ceiling with Collins, Jamar Chase, and Mixon. Like I prefer a floor, and the safer floor is Chase Brown, and they both have similar ceilings in my opinion. So I would go Chase Brown.
Yeah, it's hard because Chase Brown's been effective, and I think he continues to see the bulk of the workload, even though Khalil Herbert, it's his second week with the team, maybe gets a few more touches, but this backfield should continue to be dominated by Chase Brown. Ridley, I can't get this guy right. Every time I tell people to sit him, he seems to go off. And his rest of season schedule is great, but it's not like, if this was between Ridley and like another guy, maybe I'd go Ridley, but Chase Brown's been one of the hottest running backs in fantasy. I think we ride the hot hand.
Yeah, I'm with you there. We have a lot of questions, guys. We're probably going to hang out here till about like 11. So we got some time to get to you guys. If you have super chats and you don't have time to wait, keep sending them in. We have 2 more here. Superman Teach Out, nice picture there. Said I have Collins, Jennings, Metcalf, Tyreek, Sutton. Start 2, also Pollard, Gibbs, and Swift. I don't know. I guess my question would be like, are you asking who to start between Pollard, Gibbs, and Swift? Because if that's the question, then Gibbs. I guess for the beginning. So Collins, you're starting. And then it's between Metcalf or Jennings. I'm going to go with Metcalf. I like Jennings this week. I'll go Metcalf and Collins. I like Sutton. Tyreek, I can't trust right now. I like Sutton a lot. I like Jennings a lot, but I go Metcalf and Collins.
It's definitely Nico Collins, and you have a lot of good players. Metcalf against the Niners or Tyreek, and the matchup is not good, but it's also Tyreek Hill. And I question, is the Raiders secondary that good, or are they just that bad against tight ends and running backs? All that being said, I do see this being a heavy Devin Achane. I even see Mostert get into the end zone today, so I would go Metcalf.
Okay.
As well. But wow, like that is, I don't know how you can only have all these guys start 2.
And then Gibbs, Swift, Pollard. I think he's starting all 3 of them. If I had to guess, he's probably starting 2 running backs and a flex, and then he's starting to 2 receivers. I think that's what he's getting at. Would you sit Pollard or Swift for any of those receivers? I mean, Pollard against the Vikings is a little,
I would sit Pollard for Tyreek.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of there with you. I think Tyreek gives you some pop. I think Sutton and Jennings very easily could outplay Tyreek. Tyreek is hit or miss right now. If we could get a big game or we could get another stinker. But I think Collins and Metcalf give you enough of a ceiling to take and a floor to take the risk with Tyreek.
Yeah.
I would say Pollard as well.
Yeah, Pollard only had I think like a season low or one of his lowest 13 touches last week. And that was the toughest matchup he's faced to date against the Chargers. And now you get Minnesota. That's a really tough spot.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's move over to Zach here. I'm going to jump off for just 1 second. I pulled it up for you, Anthony. I will be right back.
So we have Zach with Higgins, Hawkinson, Downs, BTJ. You need 2 in PPR. It's not going to be BTJ. I feel the same about BTJ as I feel about CD Lamb. With their current offensive and quarterback situations, you cannot use either one of them. And I doubt you can even trade them right now because you're not going to get anything close to what they're worth. Higgins comes back, which is nice, tough matchup against the Chargers. But, is what the Bengals bring, is that going to be a lot for the Chargers to defend? Hawkinson, I like the potential for volume despite a tough matchup against Tennessee. And then we have Downs, which, I know he had a solid game the last time we saw Josh Downs with Anthony Richardson. He had a lot of targets, but only converted, I think, 3 or 4 of them for a bunch of yards and a touchdown. I'm going to go Hawkinson and Higgins here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely starting Higgins, again in that Chargers game. I know Chargers defense is good, but I'm starting Higgins. Hawkinson, Downs, BTJ. I heard Anthony a little bit. I know BTJ is scary. That Lions defense is giving up points. I would go with Downs. I like Hawkinson. The volume was there last week. But Titans defense is good. And Downs gets a tough matchup, but like we've gotten consistent floors with Downs. I mean, he scored 15 more fantasy points in every game this year except 2, and one of them he was limited first game back. So I would go with Downs. I think he's giving you a safe enough floor. I think we've seen enough. All right, let me scroll back up since we're cleared out of super chats. If you guys have any other ones, send them in. Otherwise, we'll start back where we left off. I see we answered you, Jimmy. Let's go to Daniel here. Said Dynasty League, trade Puka for DK and Pickens, 12-team PPR, half PPR. I'm 8-2, but struggling. If I would give up Puka for DK and Pickens for sure. You're 8-2, but you're struggling. You're looking at this year, like, Puka could be great for the rest of the year, but I think Puka and Pickens can be on a similar level, and then you're getting DK on top. So I'm fine with that.
Yeah, me too. These are 2 high-end wide receivers you're getting for Puka, and I think there's a world where Puka outproduces. Where Pickens outproduces Puka Nacua. Pickens has a really nice schedule down the stretch, and if you look, the running back schedule for the Steelers is not great. Their passing schedule is great, and Russ isn't afraid to throw it. So I think that's a really nice trade. And then DK Metcalf, to me, like, he's the throw in here. I know some people might see it the other way around, but I feel like, Pickens the one I really want.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it a lot. I'm fine with it for
and it's
sure.
Dynasty.
Yeah. It's win now move, but it's also a future move. Like, he's taking an asset and he's splitting it, the hype with Puka. And look, I love Puka. I think he's a top 10 to 12 receiver rest of the season, but I think Pickens is borderline like a wide receiver 1 rest of the way.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good deal. Zero Skills said PPR. We did get a super chat, so I'll grab that in 1 second. PPR looking for a Hail Mary against the first place team this week. Need the 2 highest boom long shots: Tank Dell, Devontae Adams, Scantling, and Waddle. I think Devontae Adams. If you're looking for boom, I'm starting Devontae. If you're looking for the risk, and I'm starting Tank Dell. Tank Dell has a great matchup, but there is risk. But you're looking for a Hail Mary here, and if the Texans don't decide to take their foot off the gas and the Cowboys can be semi-competitive, like there's a world where Tank Dell scores you 20 points this week in that matchup. And then Devontae Adams against the Colts, like, must-win game for these Jets. It feels like we're saying that every week, but I would go Devontae and Dell if you're looking for the Hail Mary here.
I'm a big MVS guy. I don't know if I have the balls to tell you to start him over any. I would actually advocate MVS over Waddle, but not over Dell or Adams. I would go Dell and Adams over the other 2 as well.
Yeah,
but I do like I am rolling MVS's yards and his touchdown today. But again, like, over Dell from a fantasy perspective and Devontae Adams. Dallas, that they're deep. They just look that's a team that is reeling right now.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have another super chat. I do want to say we have 46 people here on YouTube, so we really appreciate you guys hanging out with us. If you haven't already, hit that like button. Still got some people here on Facebook, got some people here on Twitter. Come over to YouTube. It helps us out, and it also makes us be able to answer your questions easier. Superman T-Chat with another $5 super. I don't know. This is more of a newer name, but we've already gotten 2 supers from you, so we really do appreciate that. He said, sorry, one more question. No need to be sorry. He said, thank you guys so much. With Kittle out, do I go Taysom or Disley this week? Look, there's a lot of hype on Disley. I like Disley. I'm starting Disley. To me, there's people out there that think the hype is too much. And look, I'm not sitting here saying, well, this is gonna win you your week. But the work has been there for Will Disley. I'm trying to pull it up. And I don't know if Anthony has it in front of him, but
yeah, I do.
Do you have it? Do you have his targets over the last 4 weeks?
Yeah. Well, last week alone, he led the team in targets and receptions. Since week 6, he's had at least 5 targets in every game. And then in 3 out of his past 4 games, he had 11, 7, 3, and 6. So he's getting pretty decent volume. And then, like, I was telling people a few weeks ago, like, look at Disley for a run. He has the tight end matchups Cincy 29th, Baltimore 25th, Atlanta 22nd, KC 31st, Tampa 30th. And then week 16 and 17, Denver 19th and New England 17th. Like, this is a must add tight end if he's on your waiver wire. And I am certainly starting him today.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, like he's got an amazing schedule coming up, especially for tight ends. I'm starting Disley today. Thanks for jumping in, Superman Teach Out. Feel free to continue to pop in. We appreciate the support. If you're a newer subscriber, welcome. And appreciate you popping in. We got one more super chat, and then we'll get to our live chat. Bay, I'm just gonna call you Baby. Said start one full PPR, Stafford, Cousins, or Geno. So let's talk about it. Cousins gets Denver. He's banged up, has a wrist injury, back injury, I believe. He's all banged up. I believe he's playing today. I'm not starting him against Denver at home. Obviously, Broncos hat. Maybe there's some bias there, but I just don't want to start him on the road, banged up against this Denver defense. It'd really be between Geno and Stafford. We saw Geno play against this team already this season. He had 2 touchdowns taken away. One where DK Metcalf didn't get both feet down in the back of the end zone, and then a weird formational call where DK had like a 40 or 50-yard touchdown. But Geno was good for that for fantasy. Stafford gets the Rams. They get the Patriots.
They are getting New England. And they're weirdly 5th against quarterbacks.
Yeah. But that could also just be a sign of like, hey, teams take their foot off the gas because maybe they're doing well. No. I'm starting Geno. Give me Geno in a game. I think it'll be high scoring. I actually like the San Fran defense this week because that offense for Seattle has been kind of messy, but I think it'll be a higher scoring game. I think there'll be points. So give me Geno.
Geno against the 49ers, I get he had a couple of things called back, a couple of touchdowns, but he's been really erratic. A couple of nice games in there, and this is going to be an away game for Geno. I think I still lean Geno over Stafford. This could very well be a Kyron Williams type of a game in New England.
Okay, so you like Geno then?
Yeah, I'll go Geno, getting his top receiver back.
Okay, cool. Big Draft Energy said I would like to donate in USD, but I don't know how. Pete for president. Appreciate that, buddy. Thanks for supporting us. And then OKG with a super chat said Cup, D Hop, Zay, QJ, C Brown, JK, Mondre, bench 2. I talked about Zay Flowers. Anthony talked about D Hop. I think both of those guys are up in your lineup, and I think Chase Brown's up in your lineup. So that's 3 right there. It's really between JK, Ramondre, QJ, and Cup. I think I'm starting Cup against the Patriots, so I would keep him up, and then it's really between QJ, JK, or Ramondre. I'm gonna sit Ramondre. That Rams defense is 4th against running backs in rushing EPA over the last couple of weeks. I think that they'll handle him. So I would definitely sit Ramondre, and that's between JK and QJ, and I think I start JK. So I'm sitting QJ and Ramondre.
I will sit Quentin Johnston. I think he's too big play reliant. He doesn't get a ton of volume, and it's between JK and Ramondre for me. Ramondre is either he seems to either pop or he doesn't get you much of anything. Is this the type of game where he's game scripted out if the Rams come out and do what they should do and play really well offensively, and they need to after last week against Miami. And then we have Cincinnati, they're 9th against the run. Shoot. I'm going to let me pull up Ramondre here because it's really close. Because why I like Ramondre a little bit more is that he gets more pass catching opportunities. Yeah. But even last week against Chicago, he only had 1 target where he had 5 and 3 in the previous games. I'm gonna go Ram over J.K. Dobbins.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go Ram here.
Okay, so you're sitting JK and QJ.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's get back to where we were. Broderick is here. This is like 40 minutes ago, but I just want to make sure we get to some of you guys in case you've been waiting. He said London D-Hop or Reed, worried about Sertan. I'm man, it's tough. What do you think here?
Do we only need one?
Yeah, I think he's got to sit. He's got
If
to
we
start
only
one.
need one, I'm going to go DeAndre Hopkins. I think London will be okay today. You know, I don't expect a big boom game, but I do think that he can win at times against Sertan. But like I think this could be a really nice DeAndre Hopkins game against Buffalo.
Yeah, I mean it depends too. I mean, we saw with Zay Flowers, like Sertan didn't shadow him a ton, like, but he also doesn't really play the slot. I'd go D Hop as well. I was gonna be mine, but I'm glad you said it first because I didn't know if I could physically say it, but glad we
Well,
feel
listen,
the same.
you know, if we're worried about Cousins' health in the pass rush, he's not very mobile. I do think that can affect his pass catchers as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Big Draft said with Kittle likely out, is Kyle Juszczyk anytime touchdown absolutely insane? Depends on the value. If Juszczyk was plus 700 or more, I would take it, but I don't know if I'm willing to put much down on him. I don't think I'm willing to put money down on him unless his odds are plus
Yeah.
700 or more.
Yeah, I don't love it. They still have CMC hasn't scored yet. Debo usually has career type of games against Seattle.
Yeah. Simon Gonzalez said sit CD for Jamison Williamson, start Jazeki or Kraft. I would start Kraft. With Higgins back, I'm not excited to start Jazeki anymore. And I'm starting CD Lamb. I get it. We talked about it a lot, but Jamison Williams is just as risky as CeeDee Lamb. He gets a good matchup. CeeDee Lamb gets a good matchup too. But to me, I know Laporte is out. I know you're probably going to bring that up. And I I get that. But to me, give me Lamb. Jamison Williams is just too risky. Unless you're going for ceiling, then start JMO. But if you're looking for a decent floor, I would go with Lamb.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll the dice on Jamison Williams. I'm gonna play the matchup like my whole narrative this week. The Lions are gonna want to shake last week off. Yes, they won. Their offense turned the ball over a lot, and I'm expecting Goff to get involved and try to get his rhythm back because they're winning games, but he still needs that rhythm. When you're throwing 5 interceptions, that's gonna stick with you. No Laporta, that obviously favors to me Jamison Williams. He had 5 targets in his return last week, 3 for 53, 8.3 PPR points, which is what about CD got you on 10 targets. Like I'd rather see it not risk CD Lamb. That's just me personally. I'm a Cowboys fan. I know this team, and when they packed it in a long time ago, and CD's dealing with injury, he's one hit away from getting put on IR. Like that's just what's the point of putting him out there?
What's crazy? I somehow was able to trade CeeDee Lamb for Nico Collins and the Denver Broncos defense last week. It was sent to me in a 14-man league, and I hit accept like immediately.
That's insane.
I don't know why, but all right. We got about 35 minutes left. Keep your questions coming. We'll try to get through some of these a little bit quicker for you. Michael Lopez said, good morning, guys. With Goff possible not throwing too much, should I go with Winston or stick with Goff? Thank you in advance. Yeah, I mean, look, you get Winston in a matchup against the Saints. You have Goff against the Jags. I'm still going to start Goff. Like Anthony said, 5 interceptions last week. Like I just think they're going to try to give it make it a point to get him right. Terrell T. This is a brutal question, but I will help you out here. I said Cooper Rush or Mac Jones this week. Prayers in the chat for Terrell because I cannot even believe that this is a question. But you must be in a deep league if these are the two guys you have to decide. Give me Cooper Rush. in a game where I think maybe the Cowboys are just playing from behind a lot. Only worry is that maybe they bench him for Trey Lance at some point. So I could see going Mac Jones. This is a terrible situation though. So thoughts and prayers to you because I don't know. You want to answer this one? Cooper Rush or Mac Jones?
Do you
I mean,
need to start one?
if
Is
he's
this
asking,
is this
if
two
he's asking to rip,
quarterback?
like I
Is
feel
it
like,
if it's a super flex, throw a positional player in. If it's
yeah,
a must start two quarterback, in this situation, they're both in bad situations. They're both playing good defenses. You don't want to get a negative. I was in situations a couple years ago where I had to start Jake Luton, and he got me negative fantasy points, and it cost me a matchup. So, which one of those quarterbacks is least likely to put up a negative?
yeah,
And I would, maybe that is Cooper Rush because the chance that they pull him.
yeah.
I
By
don't
the
know.
way, Luck said the Netherlands when we were talking about pounds and stuff. Something happened in our chat where there was 20 minutes where no questions came in. I think there was spam that maybe YouTube made it cleared out a bunch of questions.
Yeah.
So send some questions in. I'm gonna jump back to where we were. I just don't want to jump over people that have been waiting. So why don't you, if you sent in a question in the past, just say, I've been waiting, and then here's my question. We keep getting this all game streaming spam in here. So let me ban that, and hopefully that clears things out. But send your questions back in if you've been waiting. I just want to, go ahead.
We just hit 3,900 subs as during this stream. So let's
nice.
try to get this to 4,000 as soon as we can.
Yeah, after this stream, let's get another 100 in the next 30 minutes.
Gotta ask.
That'd be nice. Brian said Jennings or Jacoby full PPR. I like Jennings this week.
I'm gonna go Jennings as well. Yeah. The Kittle not being there really bumped me up on Jennings.
Yeah, I took his over at 57.5 yards. Tommy Steele said Jennings, Dowdle, or Chubb in the flex. I'm still going to go Jennings. I know Chubb has a good matchup this week. I get it, but I just, if it doesn't happen for Nick Chubb this week, we're probably never getting it this year, guys.
Yep. Yeah, so. Chubb, he's another week healthy. He has to buy to rest. The volume hasn't been there. I don't think we should have expected it to be there, but now coming off the bye, I'm expecting a little bit closer to what we see volume-wise. Like Chubb had 12, 16, and 16 touches. Now coming off the bye, I'm expecting closer to 20. And now we get this is the best matchup he's going to get all year. And then he gets Miami in week 17. This is the time if you're going to use him, and if he's going to pop, it's now.
So are you starting Chubb over Jennings though, and Dowdle?
Yes, over Dowdle. I think it's close with Jennings. I might lean Nick Chubb over Jennings. I think this is a Nick Chubb game.
Okay, fair enough. Superman T Chat said yes, new subscriber. You guys are great. Yeah, we appreciate you coming in for the first time. That was great. Debbie, longtime follower, said good morning, guys. Help PPR super flex. Need 2 wide receivers flex. Collins, Higgins, Jennings, Dell, Mooney, and then Chase Brown, Pollard. My other starting running backs are Monty and Taylor. Thanks in advance. So I guess the question I want to answer before, and I want you to tell me, would you bench Monty or Taylor for Chase Brown or Pollard? I think Taylor has to start against the Jets. They haven't been able to tackle with, and no CJ Mosley, but Chase Brown over Monty, I could be swayed there.
I don't know. I like Monty a lot in this matchup. Again, my whole narrative is the Lions are going to try to come and smash Jacksonville, and they should smash Jacksonville, especially after that showing last week where they barely got the win. And this should be and Monty's kind of been like a high floor player. He's been scoring, but not much else. This could be like a Monty week where he gets it wouldn't surprise me. If you sprinkled on him to score 3, this would be the week where you sprinkle on him to score 3. That's just the long shot bet that I might make this week.
So, I mean, I think the question's actually pretty easy. I think you're starting Collins and Higgins at the wide receiver position. I think you're flexing Jennings and Chase Brown. and you're sitting Dell and Mooney and Pollard, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. All right. So I appreciate you guys sending in new questions because, like I said, the chat with all the spam that has come in, it cleared out a lot of our questions. So apologize for that. Let me scroll back up and get to where we left off. And little Pee Wee, you are up in 2. Let's go to Curtis here. Said Tua or Darnold this week. No good streamers on waivers. Darnold gets the Titans. Tough matchup. Tua gets the Raiders this week. I'm going to go with Tua against the Raiders. I know Raiders have been good against wide receivers. I have a lot of respect for this Titans defense. I mean, I know they're not playing for a lot, but they've been playing hard this year. And again, we talked about it last week. This Vikings team and offense tends to play down to their competition a lot. So I prefer Tua this week.
Yeah. I don't trust Sam Darnold right now. I get he's with the more talented team. He has all of those weapons, but like he hasn't looked like the Darnold we saw earlier this year where, hey, he could be comeback player of the year. I don't see that guy anymore, especially after last week. And then Tennessee, they're legitimate. Like they can play defense. And I've been saying it all week. Like if you're in a survivor, I am not saying Tennessee is going to win, but I am also not picking the Vikings in survivor this week. Because if they play down to Tennessee the way they played down to Jacksonville, they will lose this game. So, yeah, Tua, as crazy as it sounds, the Raiders are really good against wide receivers, but they're 24th against quarterbacks. So I'm expecting this to be a nice spot for Tua and his skill position players.
Yeah. I think we kind of answered this already, so this will be pretty quick and easy. Michael says D-Hop, Reed, or Tillman. We both like D-Hop. I think it's Tillman, though. I think Tillman gets an amazing matchup this week against the Saints. I think you start Tillman.
Yeah, I'm going to go Tillman here as well. I would go Tillman slightly over D-Hop and then Reed third.
Okay.
But like Tillman, it's just so hard to bench. Like I said, like in the past 4 games, that's including last week's bye, Tillman is a wide receiver 6 in PPR.
Yeah. We are backed up, so let's try to get through some of these quicker. Little Pee Wee said Carr or Winston at quarterback. You have Carr versus Browns. You have Winston versus Saints. I'm going Winston. Has the weapons. Going up against both defenses.
They're going against each other. Yeah. I'll go Winston here as well. This, in theory, should be a Winston game. Yeah. Like as much as I could say, like I like MVS to score, like that might be their only score through the air.
Would you start Darnold over either of them? Ooh. I think I still start Winston over Darnold.
I'll still go Winston here.
Yeah. Alex McNeil said flex Jennings, Hawkinson, or McConkey. It's Ladd for me. I love this matchup for Ladd against the Bengals. I like Jennings. I like Hawkinson, but I like Ladd a lot this week.
Wow, you like Ladd over Jennings. You've been on Jennings a lot.
I have been. I mean, this against this Bengals defense, man. Like, I think Ladd's gonna have a nice day, man.
Yeah, I'll roll Ladd with you because they are throwing it with a little bit more volume. Herbert looks good. So yeah, this should be a nice bounce back week for Ladd McConkey. I'll ride that.
Yeah. So we're getting caught up on questions. Thanks for sending those over, guys. It helps us out. Hoff said, hit that like button. Anthony, bang, bang, Niner gang with a kissy face for you. Let's see. Downs or Pearsall from Ross H. I'm going to go with Downs. I like Pearsall, but a lot of mouths to feed. Downs is, like I said before, 15 points or more in every single game, but 2 this year, and one of them he was limited. I'm going to go with Downs.
I'm pulling up Downs. I just want to see if there's anything like outside of Anthony Richardson. Again, he had that one nice game with Richardson. He had 9 targets, but caught 4 for that big touchdown, 109 yards. The Jets are number 1 against wide receivers, and that's what is worrying me. I'll go, and then like Pearsall, he might be number 3 in the pecking order. So we have number 1 in the pecking order versus potentially 3. But like, is it all worlds created equal because they are going to throw it a lot against Seattle? I'm going to go Pearsall. I'll go with the safer play. I feel like
Okay.
he is safer.
Yeah, it's totally fair. Kevin coming in here with a $5 super said DJ Moore startable this week. Pick one, flex, DJ, ETN, Odunze. Said thanks for coming on every Sunday. Big help and good content. Yeah. Thanks for popping in. We appreciate the super chat as well. Yeah, I think DJ Moore startable. There's a chance Jair Alexander doesn't play. Possibly a boost. With with the OC change. I'd start DJ over ETN and Dunze. Udunze is just as big of a risk as DJ. And then ETN, I like ETN this week. Honestly, he's okay, but I think I go DJ.
Yeah, it's again, all three, like you said, are risky. I do see a nice floor for ETN in terms of catching passes. No Bigsby, he'll be on the field more. But with the OC change, that could mean good things. Obviously, I would like DJ a lot more with no Jair Alexander. But even if Alexander's there, like maybe we see them try to get Caleb Williams in a little bit of a rhythm, some cheap completions, and try to get DJ Moore into space. So I'll roll the dice on the OC change because that can really help an offense.
Yeah, for sure. Jamie said I actually have the Cooper Ruck and Mac Jones decision as well. I'm going Mac Jones, also have Madison, but the quarterback scoring is inflated. Yeah, I get I get it. Cooper Rush could be benched for Trey Lance. We saw it with the Eagles, so like I get it. Like I think Cooper Rush probably plays from behind more and gets a little bit of an easier-ish matchup. But I don't blame you. Jared Fortin said Gibbs, Keenan Allen, or Mixon Waddle PPR. So I'm a little confused. You can only start the combinations here. Because he says Gibbs and Keenan Allen or Mixon and Waddle. Maybe it's a trade. It might be a trade. It's probably
I
a
don't
trade.
know.
I think it's a trade. Let's operate as if it's a trade here. I prefer Gibbs and Keenan Allen. I like Mixon, but look, Keenan Allen, new OC change, same thing. Like, it just seems like Waddle hasn't given you much either, so I prefer Gibbs over Mixon, even though Mixon has a good schedule. But what do you think? And then I will be ready.
I feel like the receivers are a wash. So this is really about who do I want more over Gibbs and Joe Mixon. I mean, Mixon has been just playing out of his mind this year, and and then you have Gibbs on the other side with David Montgomery eating into the production. I'm just going to pull these up and do a little bit more due diligence. So we have Joe Mixon, even like on quote unquote bad weeks the past two games against tough matchups, Jets and Detroit. He still pulls out 16 and 17 PPR points. Against the Jets, manages go for 104, 160 rushing yards and a touchdown. He's gone over 100 yards in all but two games this year. One of those games he was, he got hurt against week 2 against Chicago. The touches are there. He is roughly 23.9 touches per game. He normally gets involved in the passing game. I would rather have Joe Mixon. So I'll take the Mixon Waddle side. I'd rather have like the more, I feel like Mixon is just more reliable. He only has one game under 16 PPR points all year. That was week 2 against Chicago when he got hurt.
Yeah. I can totally understand that. Matt Tate said, "Don't pass over my question. Could you answer it?" Yeah, Matt, send it back in because a lot of our questions got deleted because of the spam. So send your question back in. I'll make sure to come back to you. Brian said Jennings or Jacoby. I think we answered this already, Brian. We both said Jennings. Michael, we answered this one already. We both said Tillman. KJ Frederick, what's up, man? It's been a little bit. Said, should I drop Algier or Benson for Zamir White? New OC says they're going to run a new run scheme. I could see Algier, but not Benson. Benson's been getting involved. James Conner with his injury history. Like I prefer Benson. I don't know how comfortable you're going to be starting Zamir White, even if he gets more involved going forward. So I like Zamir White next week, though. I think he's got a good matchup, and it's a lot of buys next week. But I'm holding on to Algier and Benson, I think.
Yeah, I'm not ready to pick up Zamir White yet. He had a lot of hype going in. The job was taken fairly quickly. And I don't care what the new OC says. Like last week, we saw Amir Abdullah lead that backfield in snaps.
Yeah.
So this is like a true split on who's going to get the ball in what week.
And how much do you really care? Like, I mean, how much, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't, unless you're in a really deep league, you're probably not starting Matt, Zamir White. Diego said, Cedric Tillman over J.K. Dobbins or DK Metcalf. Other choices, A-Chain, Cup, CMC, Josh Downs, and BTJ on the bench, but not feeling great about both. Yeah, I would leave BTJ and Downs on the bench for what you have. I would start Cedric Tillman over J.K. Dobbins, and I would keep Metcalf in.
Yep, I'm in full agreement. You got to get Tillman and you got to get DK Metcalf in there.
Yeah. Javier said, question from earlier. I have Mahomes. Would you guys pivot to Wilson or Knicks for the week? Stick with Mahomes. I said Wilson. Anthony said Mahomes. Now that we're throwing in Knicks into the mix, I don't know if that Knicks into the mix. That kind of rhymes. I don't know if that changes Anthony's opinion. This Atlanta defense is banged up, and they've given up a lot to offenses as of late. So I could understand the Knicks pivot. I prefer Knicks over both. I'll come out and say it. Call me a homer. I just, with the rushing upside, with what we've seen him do at home against this Atlanta Falcons banged up team, I go Knicks.
Yeah, I'll still go Mahomes. There's just so much riding on this game for Kansas City. Like, you can potentially start locking up home field advantage with a win over Buffalo. I don't know if they're thinking about it, but it's got to be in the back of their heads. Hey, we could potentially go undefeated if we beat teams like Buffalo down the stretch. So I don't think, maybe Denver snuck up on them a little bit, but I don't think they're looking at Buffalo as a slouch team. So yeah. I think we're going to have to see a pristine Mahomes to come out with a win. Like I said, this is a potential playoff locking victory for that number one seed.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, if you pretty much, if the Chiefs lose this game, the Bills just have to be one game better the rest of the season. So yeah, there's a lot riding on this game. If the Bills lose, they probably lose that home field advantage. Epic Fail said, need a running back, Gus Edwards, McLaughlin, or Algier. Probably not starting Algier. I could see I could see Gus Edwards. I think I'd start Gus Edwards. Anthony might say McLaughlin because of the receiving work. I don't know if McLaughlin gets that much receiving work, to be honest, though, because probably goes more to Javonte. I'd go Gus Edwards. He's seeing touches and he gets a decent matchup against the Bengals.
Yeah, it's close because, again, like McLaughlin is his receiving work probably going to be split with Javonte. And the thing with Gus, he got 10 touches. We've seen him get over 10 touches in 3 games this year, but he's not getting more than 5.9 PPR points because he's not scoring and he's not getting targets. So it's like, who do we think is going to have the higher floor? I might still lean on Jaleel McLaughlin. He could potentially get a few more PPR points. Like either one, they need to score.
Yeah. Andrew King said Myers or Shakir this week. I'm going to go with Shakir. Like Anthony said, a lot riding on this game. I don't think Amari Cooper is going to be relied on much. You have no Dalton Kincaid, no Keon Coleman. Myers has a good matchup, but I would go Shakir.
Yeah, I'm going to go Shakir as well. We've seen in the games that Cooper has played, this offense was opened up more. And it's not like, it wasn't because Cooper was he was not playing a full slate of snaps. It was because during the week, you're game planning to minimize Amari Cooper. They don't know how long he's going to play, but you're still game planning against him. And I think that does open things up for Khalil Shakir, who had 2 of his best games in those games that Cooper was active for.
Yeah. Nick Delano said, Knox or Kraft this week?
I'm going Knox. I've gone with Knox over Kraft this week. I'm going to still lean on that matchup. What's funny, like a couple of weeks ago, it was, and I get Kate Otten's been playing great, but like that was a similar situation where Tampa was down pass catchers and they literally had play designs going to Kate Otten. Do we see something similar this week? Because Buffalo is a little bit shorthanded at wide receiver. Again, we don't know how healthy Cooper is. Maybe they do design a bunch of plays going in Knox's direction because we saw offenses move the football with the tight end being their primary target on Kansas City this year. So if Buffalo's smart, why not take that same approach? Because they couldn't stop it. They knew Ott was going to be the guy a couple weeks ago. They couldn't stop it. And like Kate Otten, he's nice, but he's not like an elite tight end, and he's unstoppable.
No, it's Totally fair. By the way, before we get to Matt, I did just see on the TV Travis Kelce and Mahomes in games together played against the Bills. They've played 7 together against the Bills, and Travis Kelce has 8 touchdowns.
Oh,
So I'm just throwing that out there. Matt Tate said drop Estime, Downs, or ETN for Bo Nix. Josh Allen as a buy. Yeah, I mean, probably dropping Estime. I don't want to. I don't want to drop any of these guys, but I would hope that you had somebody better, worse to drop. But probably estimate.
I agree. We're not dropping Downs, and I don't think you can drop ETN either with that pass catching ceiling. That's the edge that he has over Estimate right now, is that he catches passes.
Yeah. Zach Linton said Herbert or Purdy. I've actually thought about this one a decent amount. I have Mahomes, Purdy, and Herbert in Superflex Dynasty, and I'm starting Herbert and Purdy over Mahomes. But if I had to start Herbert or Purdy, I'm going to start Purdy this week.
Mm-hmm.
I like Herbert, but I love Purdy this week as well.
Yeah, Purdy has been like outstanding in his career against Seattle. Every single game outside of one, he's been over 18 or 20 fantasy points. He's thrown for at least 2 touchdowns in every game but one.
Yeah, I'm with you there. We have 42 on YouTube. We have 28 likes. So if you haven't liked and you're hanging out here with us, guys, it helps us out. Smash that button. We're on for about 12 more minutes, so we will probably gear down the analysis and probably just give you picks, just to kind of rapid fire some of these. D Money said JMO or Downs. It's Downs for me.
I'll go JMO.
Okay. Khan said Braylon Allen or Jalen Wright this week. I go Jalen Wright. He's getting more involved.
Yep.
Yeah. Dynasty is my life. Said 12-team Superflex half PPR start 3. Hawk, Ladd, Bowers, Hopkins, DJ Moore, Andrews, Hopkins, and Ladd for me.
Andrews, Hopkins, and Ladd. Yeah. Wait, there's Bowers in there too?
Yeah, I could see starting Bowers over Andrews, but I want Hopkins and I want Ladd.
Man, that's tough. I might go Bowers, Andrews, and Hopkins, or go what Pete's going for. It's just like sitting Bowers with how effective he's been, and he's really all they have.
Yeah. Anthony Johnson said McConkey, Njoku, Waddle, or JSN in the flex half PPR. I'm starting McConkey. I'll ride with what I've been saying. If it's not McConkey, I would go Njoku.
Same.
Jason. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm not starting those other guys outside of Njoku over McConkey. And I still think McConkey's the way to go over the tight end.
Yeah. Jason said trade Ridley for Purdy. If not, then start Geno or May. My wide receivers are Sutton and Pickens. I'd rather roll with Geno this week. And I mean, do you have somebody on a bye that you have to start Geno or May? Because if you have a good quarterback and you're only going to be using Purdy for this week, then I would rather keep Ridley and roll with Geno. If you have a good quarterback that's on a bye this week, then yeah, if these are your two quarterbacks, Geno and May, then yeah, absolutely, I would trade Purdy for Ridley though.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not. Ridley has such a nice schedule, and we know he can pop for 20. We've seen him do it in 3 out of the 4 games where he gave us double-digit PPR points. 3 of them went over 20.
By the way,
and the schedule's great.
Dynasty is my life said this is a tight end premium, so he gets an extra half. So I would go Andrews, Bowers, and Ladd. I'm sure you'd go Hopkins over Ladd.
Yeah,
though.
I'm going Hopkins over Ladd.
Okay. Alex Yates said Myers, JMO, Quentin Johnson, DJ Moore, Deontay Johnson, Josh Downs. Pick 3. All right, let's pick 3 first. GJ, I'm not starting Deontay Johnson. It's DJ Moore, Josh Downs, and I will go with JMO.
JMO here as well.
And Josh Downs and Moore?
Yeah, I'm sitting Deontay.
Okay.
Yeah, and Deontay, I don't know if they're going to. He's not. When are they haven't used him yet.
Yeah, I can't in good faith start Deontay Johnson.
No.
I can't. And then the rest of this is just him kind of giving us context as to why his team is deep. Kevin coming back in said Alec Pierce or Pittman this week. Give me Pittman. Alec Pierce, he's had big games. I get it. But give me Michael Pittman.
I mean, Pierce, he's going off with Anthony Richardson.
I know.
He's done more. Like, I think if you need a ceiling play, like if you were playing against Barkley this week and you're down, I go Pierce. But if you want to play it safe, go Pittman.
Yeah, that would be my answer as well. Kyle Wyman said DK or Ridley. Give me DK. It's a good matchup for Ridley, but give me DK.
So DK.
Greg said in PPR, I got to start 2 out of Pittman, Estimate, Disley, Taysom, Knox, Elijah Moore, and at least one has to be a tight end. So he's starting 1 tight end. I go Knox. Anthony, I'm sure, goes Knox over Taysom and Disley as well. And then Pittman, Estimate, Elijah Moore. Give me Estimate. I'll roll the dice with Estimate this week out of these guys.
I'll go Knox and Estimate here as well. So I like a lot of dudes from Cleveland, but they're not all going to get targeted.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm there. Anthony Johnson says, should I drop Warren and stash Mason? No, keep Warren. Yeah, keep Warren. Checo said Kraft or Mark Andrews. T. Higgins, should I start him? Yeah, I think you should start T. Higgins this week. If I mean, depending on who you're benching, would love to know who you'd be benching. I'd start Mark Andrews though.
Yeah, Kraft. Andrews been red hot, and it's hard to sit him.
Yeah. Ryan McDonald said Sam Darnold or Geno Smith. Geno. We answered that before actually too with somebody, and we both said Geno.
Yep.
Michael Lopez said full PPR, London, McConkey, Adams, pick one. Thank you in advance. Already starting Chase and Puka. I'm gonna go with Ladd. If it's not Ladd, it's Adams. And London would be my third guy here, but I'd start with Ladd.
Wow. I'll roll with you on Ladd, but it's close. They're all 3 are startable. I just think that Ladd has the better matchup out of both.
Yeah. Ryan said, sounds like folks don't like Sammy this week. Yeah, me and Anthony kind of touched on it. I just think, they just tend to play down to their opponent. I mean, that Jags defense is not that good. And I mean, what the hell happened last week? So Ryan said Knox or Ferguson. Kittle's out. I go Knox over Ferguson.
Knox as well.
Superman Teach-Out came back in, said, my lineup is set. Thank you, guys. Quarterback, Jackson, Gibbs, Swift, Collins, Metcalf, Tyreek, defenses, Lions, Moody. I'm playing my best friend this week. LOL, you guys are awesome. Yeah, well, and he said he's a new sub, so we appreciate you coming in. Looking forward to seeing you in the future. Epic Fail said, would you guys play Tua over J-Mo and A-Rich as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
For me, yes. We have a super chat.
Oh, do we? Okay. Sorry about that. Yep, you got it.
Mow it.
You want to read it?
No, you got it.
Okay. Flex F PPR 12-man. Pop Douglas, Elijah, Addison, Adonai Mitchell. Much love. Appreciate the super chat. Much love back. Pop Douglas gets the Dolphins. Elijah Moore gets the Saints. Addison has been sporadic, to say the least. Addison is the biggest boomer bust guy here. If you want the upside, if you want the ceiling with the risk, it's Addison. If you don't want that, it's Pop Douglas for me.
Yeah, I'm looking into Pop Douglas. Addison does have a good matchup. And then we have Pop Douglas, who he's giving you a high floor in back-to-back weeks, 9 and 10 PPR points. What's interesting, in every game where he's had at least 9 targets, he's returned double-digit PPR points. But it's hard to predict when he's going to lead that team in volume. He gets the Rams this week. I might lean Pop Douglas. Or again, if you need the ceiling from Thursday night, then you have to go Addison. Otherwise, just go Pop Douglas. He's at least should be bringing you a decent floor. Yeah,
I'm with you there. Let's shoot back. We got about 5 minutes left, guys. If we can't get to you guys, we're not going to get to everybody. We'll try to rapid fire through these and answer as many as we can on our way out. D Money said Etienne or Najee, leaving Etienne with Bigsby. Yeah, I'm going Etienne. Najee gets a tough matchup against Baltimore.
Etienne. Ooh. I'm gonna still go Najee Harris. Like I get the matchup, but if they're on that goal line, like Najee's been one of the hotter backs in football. And I think I actually saw this earlier this week. Najee Harris normally crushes Pittsburgh. He's had some of his best games in his career against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I will ride that narrative. Let me see. Najee averages, he averages over like 12 PPR points. In his career, 392 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. He also has 19 receptions, 116 yards, and another touchdown as a receiver. That's his career numbers. And yeah, like the last time he put up 19, 2 games ago, 18, 12. So yeah, like he normally steps up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I'm going to ride that over ETN.
Yeah. Moet Mills said new sub. Appreciate you guys. I'm up good with Ertz. Yeah. Appreciate the super chat and the support and welcome to the family. We're gonna try to rip through these. We got about 2 to 5 minutes. If we can get through these quick, we'll get out of here. But we'll try to get to everybody. Sit one, Tyreek, DK, London, Chase Brown, Cook. I think we're both sitting London.
Yes. Yeah.
Mo Green, JSN or Tank Dell or Quentin Johnston this week. Give me JSN.
I'm going to go JSN as well. And we have another super chat from Daniel.
Daniel, what's going on? Said full PPR, Estimate or Najee Harris at my RB2, Kraft or Ingram, and need one flex, Adunze, MVS, or Estimate. If not, substituted for Harris. Yeah, I'm starting Najee. I'm starting Kraft. And then if I'm flexing, it's I would flex Estimate over Adunze and MVS.
Yeah, I'm going to go Najee, Kraft, and Najee, Kraft, and MV. I'm going to go MVS here. Is that crazy?
I don't think it's crazy. No, I don't think it's crazy at all.
Like Cleveland's not good at defending the pass, and all it takes is one from MVS. Like he's like in the Rashid Shaheed role, but he's not Rashid Shaheed. But like as long as he catches the ball, he's gonna get 1 or 2 opportunities. It's a matter of is he gonna drop it? But yeah, I think he has the best opportunity to score out of those other guys.
Yeah. All right. Let's see how many we can get to before we close out. Matt said Sutton, Myers, Ridley, ETN, full PPR pick 2. Sutton and Ridley for me over Myers and ETN.
Same.
Drop Ferguson for Disley, start Disley or Ingram. I think I would probably do that.
Rest of season, I want Disley.
Yeah. Myers or Higgins? I go Higgins.
Higgins as well. We have another super from Andrew.
Oh, shoot. Okay. Half PPR, start 2, Higgins, Jennings, Tillman.
Whoa.
Higgins and Tillman. Tillman.
Same here. And that's close, but I think Jennings sits here.
If I was gonna go any other way, it would be sitting Higgins for Jennings. But
Tillman's a must start.
Yeah.
Yep.
Skylar said start 2, full PPR, DK Metcalf, Cedric Tillman, T Higgins. This is almost the same exact question. I'd start DK and Cedric Tillman.
Same.
Jason said trade Ridley. Okay, yeah, we got this one before. Ross Husel. Well, let me give you the recap real quick. We said that if your quarterbacks are Geno and May on your entire roster, do this deal. Yep. If not, start Ridley and start Geno.
Agree.
Ross said Brian Thomas Jr., Jalen Waddle, or JSN flex half PPR. I go JSN.
JSN here as well. I don't trust those other guys.
Najee Harris or Amari Cooper? Najee. Javier said, thanks, guys. New sub. Yep. Appreciate that. Thanks for coming in. D Money said Dawson Knox over Evan Ingram. I would go Knox.
I'll go Knox here as well.
GPDC pick 2 for my flex spots, full PPR, Tillman, Downs, Estimate, Tillman and Downs.
Tillman and Downs here.
Julio said, what are your thoughts on ETN rest of the season? It's a standard league. Don't have much depth behind Montgomery and Tracy. Also at Pacheco, I think you're actually in a fine spot. Montgomery and Tracy should be able to carry you. ETN could give us a decent floor with passing work, and Pacheco coming back could be an RB2 the rest of the season.
Yeah, what's going to help you is if Trevor Lawrence comes back.
Yeah,
but I think that's a nice with ETN as a backup once you get all your guys off their buys and healthy.
And you got to assume he's probably got a decent receiver room too, given these running backs, based on where he probably drafted them. Skyler said pick 2, Metcalf, Tillman, Higgins. Yeah, we answered this already. He came over from Facebook and came over to YouTube. Appreciate that. We said Metcalf and Tillman. Michael said Kittle out, no backup, need to pick up. Jonnu, Henry, Disley, Taysom. I go Disley. Anthony.
It's Disley slightly over Jonnu.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. Lost Kittle, have no backup, pick up Henry. Yep. Okay, so he sent this in twice. We're getting close to the end here, so I'm just rapid firing. Half PPR flex, Tillman or Jennings. Tillman. Yusuf, Tyreek or Debo?
Debo crushes. Yeah.
Red and Black, what's up, man? Haven't seen you in a little bit. Said Rico Dowdle as my RB5 behind Monty Henry, blah, 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 blah. Or stash a wide receiver like Adonai, Juju behind Wilson Chase. Okay, so he's asking if you should pick up Rico or if you should pick up Adonai, Judy, or Juju.
Rico, Adonai, Juju.
I would pick up a receiver here. I would go with Juju.
I would go Judy over Juju.
Yeah, I'd go Judy. I was just going to say that. Yeah, I would go Judy.
Then Alfredo with a kicker super chat.
Jake Bates, Brandon Aubrey, or Koo. I think Brandon Aubrey's matchup dependent, unfortunately, now. I'm going Jake Bates today. I like Jake Bates a lot.
I would go like Koo. He would be locked and loaded, but he's been missing so much where he's no longer reliable. Yeah. I'm gonna go Bates because Koo does get kind of useless right now.
Koo gets the altitude though in Denver, so that could help him. But I go Bates for sure. Anthony said, thanks, fellas. Yep, no problem. And then he said, should I drop Olave for Knicks? This was in regards to his question before. I don't think so.
Yeah, Olave is going to probably come back. That's not a season-ending IR stint. He could potentially give you something rest of season.
Yeah. Tyler, that kid said, should I start CD, Lamb, Monty, or London? I go Monty. And Jason said, no, Geno is my starter. So yeah, I would trade Ridley for Purdy. Purdy's got an awesome playoff schedule.
Yep. Absolutely do that move.
Anthony said Tua, May, or Anthony Richardson. Thank you. I go Tua.
I'm going Tua here.
Greg, what's up, man? I said, hi, fellas. Been out shopping with the wife, going back and forth, going to catch up. Yeah. Shoot me or Anthony a message on Twitter if you have questions since you missed the show. Willie Snyder said quarterback on a bye, Drake May or Cousins.
I'll go Cousins.
Tough. Yeah, I go Drake May just for the rushing upside. I don't know. I go Drake May for the rushing. Stroud or Goff this week. I go Goff. These are two guys that could be. Yeah, these are two guys that could be in shootouts though. That like maybe their team again takes their foot off the gas.
I'm going to go Goff. I'll go Goff. I think I actually project them very similar because of the matchups. Like you can. I think both backfields against Dallas and Jacksonville are going to thrive, but I can also see both teams because they played each other Monday night. They both didn't have a great. I can see both teams, especially with Nico coming back. Hey, we need to drop some points. We need to show people that we're the same team as we were in the first half.
Yeah,
I'll slightly go Goff.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, you're splitting hairs. Luis said Estime or Jameson at flex. I go JMO over Estime. Kobe Ward said Rodgers or Darnold in the super flex spot. I would go Rodgers.
Rodgers here as well.
Cole, Hunter Henry or Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews. 305 Raider said greetings, fellas. Need one. Downs, Najee, or JMO PPR. If you want the floor, I'm going Downs. I'm gonna go Downs.
If
you want the ceiling, it's JMO, but I go Downs.
Between Najee and JMO for me. I'm gonna go. I think the safe plays Najee. I think the ceiling plays JMO.
Okay. Josh Hutchinson said, should I trade AJ, Kenneth for Brees and London? No, I prefer AJ and Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, I agree. Walker's going to get back now that DK is back. I think that offense is predicated on DK Metcalf being on the field.
Me too. Carlos said Myers or Shakir this week. I prefer Shakir. Taysom, Knox, Jonnu, Knox. Jose said one flex, Cup, Adam, Shakir, Cooper, pick one Cup.
I'll go Cup.
What's our co-host channel? Thanks. I don't know what you mean by that. So sorry, I don't know how to answer that. Sorry. Ross said, thanks, guys. Peter said, hey guys, Shakir or McConkey. I go McConkey.
It's close. I'll go Lad. I'll ride the Lad train.
Mooney or Higgins, full PPR. Higgins for me.
Higgins.
Jared said, good luck, guys. Julio said, thanks. We're getting close to the end here. Jameson said, 2 wide receivers, Lamb, Hopkins, Higgins, or Jennings. I go Higgins and Jennings.
I will go Hopkins and Higgins.
Okay. And then he said, flex, Hunt, or one of the other receivers. Okay, so would you start Hunt or pick one of the other receivers?
I'll roll Kareem Hunt. He showed us last week that, he had like 10 targets. Like, he got it done as a receiver last week in fantasy. So if he's not scoring, they're going to throw it to him.
Yeah. Kincaid out. Taysom Hill, Knox, Johnny Smith, Knox. I feel like we've gotten this question like 9 times.
Hopefully we're right, because I've said Rock. I think I've said Knox, that word, like more times this week than my whole life.
Yeah. Kobe Ward said opponent has Addison. I have Darnold. I have Garrett Wilson as well. That was in his question, in regards to his question before. I don't think that changes our answer. Daniel Hurley said Pollard or Ridley. I'd go Ridley.
I'll roll the dice on Ridley.
Yeah. Knox or Ferguson. I go Knox. Willie Snyder said, thanks for the advice, fellas. Good luck today with your teams. Carlos said, thanks, fellas. Have a good one. And Dusty Johnson said, thanks, fellas. That is it. That we are cleared of all of the questions. It's 11:08 Eastern time, a couple minutes over, but that's going to do it. Great show. Oh, and if you're still here, give us a like on YouTube. We still have 24 guys or gals watching. If you haven't, give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs up.
Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow with our Week 11 reaction. Right around 6 p.m. Eastern is when we go. But if you, good luck in all of your Week 11 fantasy and betting endeavors. Until tomorrow night, we'll see you.